Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Welcome back, everyone. Now we're beginning today's lesson with a whole new subject, and as we progress through Module 1, we have completed the Canadian legal system, we have completed criminal law, and recently we completed civil law. So today we're looking now at the law of tort. So new heading for today's lesson is law of tort. Right, we begin. A tort is a civil wrong. Full stop. It occurs from any act which gives rise to an action for damages example, breach of contract, defamation of character, and assault. Full stop. The assault is a criminal act punishable in the criminal courts. Full stop. The claim for compensation for injuries, the claim for compensation for injuries caused by the assault is tort. Full stop. Now, up until now we have actually been looking at procedures. In other words, we talked about criminal cases. We looked at some aspects of procedural law. For example, we looked at which courts deal with certain aspects, although we haven't yet gone into trials, looking more in depth into trials. But you can imagine what a trial is. It's the physical aspect of going through evidence and then handing out punishment. When we looked at civil, we also looked at an action. Something is happening. In other words, you are suing someone, either because they have broken the terms of a contract, or because they have defamed your character, or someone assaulted you. And so what you're doing in civil is claiming for compensation. Tort now is not a physical thing. And you will understand more as we go along. Tort is perhaps an abstract example of what it could be. So tort in itself is not a doing thing. You're not suing someone. You're not being tried for a criminal offence. Tort is that vague aspect of law that gives you a reason to do something. So tort is not the doing thing, it's the abstract. It's what gives you cause for action. Okay? So if someone assaulted you, the assault is criminal. It's a criminal offence, and the offender or the accused is going to be tried in a criminal court. That's a doing thing. That's something happening. Civil means that because of the assault, because of the punch, for example, you now have a reason to sue. Okay? So civil means you are suing someone. Again, it's the doing thing. It's the action. You are doing something in a civil court. You are claiming for compensation for injuries caused by the assault. Tort is that invisible reason. Tort is the thing that gives you the cause for action. It's the reason that allows you to claim compensation. It's the reason that allows the accused to be tried in a trial for a criminal offence. So tort, excuse me, tort is quite abstract. Okay, it's not the thing that we do. Tort is the thing or the reason that gives us the right to do something. Okay, got it? Good. Okay, so tort is a civil wrong. It occurs from any act which gives rise to an action for damages. For example, breach of contract, defamation of character, and assault. The assault is the criminal act punishable in the criminal courts. The claim for compensation for injuries caused by the assault is tort. So if you want to make that even more explicit, tort really is the reason. It's the thing that gives you cause for action. Okay? It gives you the right to do something, either the right to have someone prosecuted or the right to claim against that person. So it's quite abstract, quite vague. We continue, new paragraph. A tortious act, I'll write it. A tortious act can be against the person, property, or against goods. Full stop. There are three things. There are three things which must be proved in tort. And the first. A defendant owed a duty of care. First, a defendant owed a duty of care. Number 2, the duty of care was breached. The duty of care was breached. Number 3, damage has been suffered as a result of the breach in duty of care. Full stop. So just to repeat, a tortious act can be against the person, property or goods. There are 3 things which must be proved in tort. The first, a defendant owed a duty of care. 2, the duty of care was breached or broken. And 3, damage has been suffered as a result of the breach in duty of care. New paragraph. We will look first of all at tort against the person. So your next heading now is tort against the person. Oh dear, excuse me. So, tort against the person is now what we're looking at first. And we know that tort can be person, property or goods. So we're looking first at tort against the person. New paragraph. The general rule is that everyone owes a duty of care which requires him to act reasonably. Full stop. New paragraph. The principle of reasonableness is drawn in very general terms. Full stop. Each case must be viewed in all its many different circumstances. Full stop. I repeat, the principle of reasonableness is drawn in very general terms, full stop. Each case must be viewed in all its many different circumstances. New paragraph. Take the example. Take the example of a company erecting scaffolding around a building at the side of a road. Full stop. All reasonable steps were taken in erecting the scaffolding including securing the perimeter with a safety net. New paragraph. A huge gust of wind in poor weather blew up detaching a part of the tower, i.e. the scaffolding, which collapsed onto a motor car parked nearby, injuring the driver. New paragraph. Is the company liable for injuring the driver? New paragraph. Is the company negligent in its duty of care? New paragraph. Is there evidence which could prove that the company did not secure the tower as was reasonably expected? New paragraph. Was the gust of wind unusually heavy? New paragraph. Was such poor weather foreseeable end predicted? New paragraph. Was the motorist reckless? By parking his vehicle under the scaffolding. Okay, I'm going to leave you for a second to ponder those questions, and when we return we shall continue. So see you in just a little while.